You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Wayne, when I tried to press the music that ended the segment, I pressed the introduction music, Maxine Nightingale singing.
Well, that's what happens when Sue's not here.
There's only two buttons that he's got to push, Wayne,
Yeah,
just two, and he gets them wrong all the time.
Well, because you were going me about bringing up all those things out of context, and I'm saying they're not out of context, and then I pressed the wrong music. So now Greg Evans and Wayne, we're here again for the second part of this. Now, I know these are pissy subjects, but these things really tick me off. I'm driving back from somewhere along the Westgate Freeway, and I don't know how. I don't reckon I'll live to see the end of that particular construction. I don't know how long it can possibly go on for, but they're getting all the awnings and all the sound battens up and everything, and I notice that the inbred people with syphilis who are nothing more than scum have started to deface graffiti, the fantastic art framework. If ever this city did anything, it would not worry about parking infringements. It would not worry about getting people for doing 44 kilometres an hour in a 40s. They would get a squad of people to go out and hose those people onto the ground and put them in back of a big wagon. They are completely defacing. It is a magnificent project. I know it's cost us and sent us broke, but if you're going to let the scum and the people who have syphilis do that, the inbred, ill-bred fucking vole who do that, you may as well throw your hands in the air.
Isn't it funny how it's one's perception when they see something? I don't not the names, but I don't disagree that there's not a big enough penalty for that type of stuff. You know, you catch someone spray painting or defacing someone's property and or our property that we end up paying for taxpayer money, but how I view that, I'm astounded by how they get up there. I go,
yep.
How have they actually done that? I often sit there if I'm at a set of lights and I'm looking at some graffiti up on a bridge or wherever. I just go, that is almost impossible to be. Do these guys sail down and do it? Do they connect ropes to themselves? Do they do because? It's remarkable how they get to some of these positions.
And that's what they do. That arouses them.
Arouses them?
It arouses them. Yeah, they get hard-ons doing it. They do. And they hang off there and they paint shit on there. And why someone doesn't get a pellet gun and shoot them off there and run them over on a truck has got me beyond belief.
Some of the stuff is quite artistic.
Do you think?
Some. Not all. Some of the
no, I just see it as vandalism.
I just get it. I know it is. Vandalism. No, it is vandalism. I get it.
You're talking about tagging. Graffiti is when people paint walls and do nice murals.
Yes,
and things.
That's what I mean.
You're talking tagging. You want to go down the Westgate Freeway and have a look at that. People have completely defaced sections of it already.
I'm on board, Sam. Like I said,
don't be confused with the graffiti in the silos. Those silos are fantastic that they paint and they can paint and they can do something really good. But
so what, Sam? You want them shot with a pellet gun?
Shot with get the big water cannons out and hose them off. People have to go out and watch at night. Have motion camera.
It's amazing, but it is amazing though that you can have, given that it's done regularly and everywhere, and there are cameras everywhere. These days, how they're not caught on camera doing what they're doing. I assume they're wearing. Balaclavas, hoodies, and so it's hard to.
They're wearing all.
You can still. Surely there's cameras set up that they can see that area, and you see someone doing it. They send someone out there, and you reckon hose them off the top of the bridge.
The big SAS cars out there with the big water cannons and hose them off.
Hose them off. Yeah.
So then, someone said they were in Maya or David Jones, and they watched a bloke load up stuff off a rack and walk out of the store. And you can't... Stealing. They call it shrinkage now. The department stores call it shrinkage. There's $20 billion worth of stuff gets pitched, and you can't. If you walk to the door and they haven't gone out onto the footpath, you can't charge them with stealing because they haven't left the store. And once they get out onto the footpath, you're not allowed to touch them or get in their way. So my point is, if you allow that to happen, why can't someone walk into a new car showroom, get in a car, start it up and drive it to the doors? If they can't do it because you haven't pinched it because it hasn't gone outside the doors, then you just go through the windows and drive it away. Why can't you pinch a car?
Are you saying that you can't? So you
Can't
can't stop.
footpath.
You can't stop them from walking out the store now. Is that what
You
you're
can't stop them walking out the store because they haven't pinched it until they walk out the store. And once they get out in the store, you're not allowed to touch them.
Why aren't you allowed to touch them outside the store?
saying? Oh, so they can just bolt.
They can just keep walking, and they say, "Don't touch me, or I'll charge you with assault."
Yeah, okay, so that's Well, I remember you bringing this up last week, Greg, and tell me whether this is, and you're going to think this is wrong of me. And I actually went home and I actually asked Jess. I might ask Tess this as well, by the way. While I'm at it, I asked Jess and Tess. I did say to Jess, I said, "Am I in the wrong?" And this is the exact topic that we're talking about.
Yep.
We've got crickets here, but I was in a supermarket, right? Now it was a Woolworths. So you got Woolworths and Coles, the two big chains. And I know you got Aldi and the others, but they're the two big chains. And I was in at Woolworths just recently.
Yep.
And noticed some kids knocking some chocolates off and a couple of drinks and whatever. And I was just walking around. I can't remember what I was looking for, but I clearly couldn't find it because I was walking around the store and I clearly noticed that these kids were knocking stuff off. Right, and they're school kids, they're in their school uniforms, and anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the young person behind the cashier, and obviously it's all self-serve now, so there's only one person there, and everyone else is self-serving themselves. And what these kids were doing is they were going to the self-serve area and they go, "Oh no, I don't want that," so it just throws the and everything. Anyway, notice these kids doing it, and sort of thought, I had a little moment where I thought, now do I say something to them, or do I leave that to the people that are in control of this place? I'm not secure. I don't work for the I don't work for the company or anything like that. So why get involved? So I watched it anyway. I went home and I actually said to Jeff, I said, and I watched them walk out and they had a coat full of stuff. And then as I drove around the corner, they were all sitting there feasting on all of their stolen goods, which is. And by the way, I remember.
You're going to say we've all stolen stuff?
I knocked off a few things when I was a young fella. I might have knocked off a packet of chewies or a packet of chips or something when I was in Wagga growing up. So
I've knocked off a couple of cars, but nothing serious.
But in saying that, I had this dilemma where I thought to myself, should have I stepped in and just said to them, "Hey kids, come on, stop knocking stuff off," or whatever. What I did, was that the right thing to do? And I came up with this, and this is how I live with myself, Sam. I came up with this: if I was in a privately owned milk bar where a family of which their whole earnings and living is off the base of what they've got in that shop. If I was in there, I would have grabbed the kid. And said, "Hey, put it back. What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't want the kid to get in trouble. I don't want the police to be called or anything like that. But, hey, put that back. Do you realise this person...
Did you say you would have grabbed the kid?
I would have...
that should be your first mistake.
Then I'm in trouble. Okay, I would have stopped the kid and said, "Put the stuff back." Now, because I was in a Woolworths or a massive company, I sort of thought, well, you know what, that's up to them to get better security and better whatever and better. That's how I viewed it, and that's how I live with myself.
But let me tell you this, Wayne. I was in Coles 6 months ago, and a bloke, he had groceries loaded up, and he made no pretense. I watched him. You have to go and you can do your own counting, the thing, and the barcade comes out, and he walked through that there, and I thought he's going to wait to. He just walked straight out, and there's a security guard there dressed up in a uniform and got a gun. I don't know if he had a gun in his holster, but he was standing there, and I said, I went like that, and the bloke said, "I know." I said, "What are you here for?" He said, "We can't stop him we cannot stop him. I can't say to him, stop. I can say stop. I can't touch him. I can't. I said, what are you here for? He said, it's meant to be a deterrent. It's no deterrent at all. He didn't even try and sneak out. He just walked out.
When you say you can't you make a citizen's arrest anymore?
No.
Is that gone? Is that you're not allowed to make? So you see someone absolutely. Well, Michael Vossett, he wrestled someone not long ago, didn't he? That was doing something
wrong.
Ron
Barassi wrestled someone to the ground.
Correct. Yeah, so you are allowed to put if you see someone doing something wrong.
So what did Michael Voss do? He and good on him. He someone was it a car accident? No, what was it?
It was a car. It was a car crash, and he grabbed him and wrestled him to the ground.
No, it was someone stealing a car, wasn't it? Anyway, whatever.
Someone ran off.
But he got himself involved in an altercation, and he stopped the person. He was a hero. So there is citizen's arrest.
I don't think you can make a citizen. I said I was nearly going to say to the bloke who walked out, and I thought, what am I doing this for? A bit the same as you. I said, what the fuck are you doing, mate? And he couldn't have given us stuff because he knew that the man standing there couldn't do anything. So it's how there's not more of it is just people just do it now.
There's another way they were doing it.
If they know that, they'll keep doing it. That's for sure.
There was another way too, Wayne. You get the supermarket trolley, and sometimes there's some receipts from the person before that's been left in there. So they grab the receipt and they go back into the supermarket
and get the same,
and they get the same items off the shelf. Then take them to the counter and say, "There's my receipt. There's the items. Give me my money back."
I like it. I wasn't that clever growing up in Wagga. If I'd known that, Craig, I might have used that one. By the way, you've just given all the people out
that's
there.
That's right. You've given me an idea. If you're a practicing felon, you'll know all this, but when you just have no intention to do it now, I've just write that down, Sue.
If you're a practicing felon.
So I go up to Brisbane on last Friday. There's another thing. I go up to Brisbane to speak at a big sports lunch up there, which... there was Fatty Vorton there, and the Honey Badger, Nick Cummins, and there was Jimmy Cassidy, and there was
that's a good lineup.
Oh, it was fantastic, and there was Ian Healy, and
that's a great lunch.
Six of us. Anyhow, it was a fantastic lunch at the new casino. So I get to the airport, get to the Tullamarine. If you don't fly Qantas, because I had to fly on the airline they sent me up, if you fly
Virgin,
or it is 1.5 kilometres to walk once you get dropped off. You've just about if you've got something wrong with you carrying luggage. Not that I was carrying luggage. It is 2 kilometres to walk to the terminal where the plane takes off from. Wouldn't you reckon, seeing as they don't have we're the only city in the world doesn't have a rail line going to the airport, wouldn't you reckon they'd have some travel-laters? You stand on it, moving platforms. There's people staggering with cases, have to walk 2 kilometres. What sort of dinky little city are we living in? Well, seriously?
I only found out the other week. Did you know the Sydney-Melbourne route is the most travelled route in the world? Can you believe that? Little old Australia.
I did know that.
That is the most travelled route in the world.
Because the two most populous cities are just
incredible.
That far apart.
Yeah.
And I did know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. What do you reckon?
Did your plane leave on time? Can I just ask?
It did, and coming home it didn't. They cancelled the flight 3 times, but I eventually got on it, but they did cancel the flight 3 times coming home.
To reiterate, I went to Tasmania recently, Duck, and it was the 10 o'clock flight, and it was a Qantas flight from Melbourne to Hobart, and got to the airport, in the gate lounge at 9:30, supposed to board at 20 to 10 in the morning, and they said, the flight's been delayed. And they came on a bit later and they said, the flight's been delayed from 10 o'clock this morning till 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And there you are. You just, what do you do? I said, you're kidding me.
Surely they could have told you that an hour and a half before you left home.
But why has it been delayed? Bird strike. Bird strike. Jesus, I saw that in that movie.
Because Mr. Joyce and his husband, Mr. Joyce and Mr. Joyce, who ran Qantas into the ground, he fled back to Ireland and is over there now on a huge stipend, Mr. and Mr. Joyce. He completely fucked the airline up and graffitied it by putting yes vote rather than the no vote. Talk about clowns running the infrastructure. Now, Here's a question, Wayne. You have thought, Jesus, why have I come in to answer these questions? Football was very good. Wayne had some very good things about the football and the women's football and the Brownlow and all that.
With the Brownlow, the women's Brownlow, and you look around the room, were you there, were you?
No, I was watching it home.
Because I didn't see any blokes in that
Watching
room.
it on KO.
I watched it and I thought, my God, there's a decisive lack of males at this function.
Yes, that's a good point.
I must admit I didn't see too many.
Many of them got boyfriends?
I would assume. You know what? I think it's
and
all.
tables.
I'm not sure that their night. I'm not sure whether they have the opportunity. Once again, this is me. I don't know whether they can invite partners like they do in.
It's a lockout.
In the men's.
It's
but
a
I don't,
sexist lockout.
I've got no idea, Greg. But you're right. There wasn't too many men in the room. That's
Even comparing the show,
there
wasn't
a lot of men.
I was going to ask you why.
Well, you would have to ask them why. I've got no idea. But it was, now that you mention it, now that it's noticeable.
Now here's a question.
Yes.
What do you reckon is the biggest merchandising product in the world by far? Now I'll just give you a sort of a clue. Like you might think Harry Potter memorabilia or the merchandise, or Star Wars, or it is by far the biggest merchandising product in the world. You know
That thing over there, Make America Great Again.
No.
That.
Oh no. It's worth. They reckon. Did they say, Sue? It was worth $30 billion if the franchise.
Well, I've always thought, and I know I'm wrong, but I've always thought the most worn hat I've ever seen is the New York Yankee hat.
Yep.
And I've thought that's got to be one in terms of merchandise. I reckon every person I know has got at some point owned a New York Yankees hat. Now I know that they're most of the wearing knockoffs. They're not the ones that the Yankees have made or that particular company. But that in terms of merchandise. But I know where you're going with this. Is it Qantas?
In the world,
is it Qantas?
Qantas.
Is it something to do with Qantas? Well, I don't know. I just thought that you know what I thought it was a trick question.
No, it's not a trick question.
Coca-Cola.
Well,
yes, I would have
people
said
buy merchandise like
New York Yankee hat.
That's merchandise.
Yes.
And you'd think some of the soccer sides like Barcelona or
Real Madrid
or by far it is.
I know the Dallas Cowboys is the richest sporting organisation in the world.
Is it?
Yes, even though they've had not a lot of success, but the Cowboys.
Is it? I would have thought Real Madrid.
Yes, the soccer teams. If you look it up, the top 10, all of those the soccer clubs, those soccer
merchandise
clubs but in terms of the richest sporting organisation, it is the Dallas Cowboys. I'm led. If you believe what you read.
And Sam, the answer to this question.
Yes, I've made an error. It's not worth 60 billion. It's not worth 30 billion. It's worth 80 billion. $80 billion is by far. Have you ever walked into a shop and seen a little kitty with it waving its hand?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Hello Kitty.
Yes.
No.
Is it?
Worth $80 billion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one of them at home.
I've
got a New York Yankees hat.
Do you have one?
Obviously us three here, us are the only people that haven't got one.
The thing,
Kitty.
I haven't got one, but the thing about the reason why I said the Yankees, because even if you don't barrack for the Yankees or you don't follow baseball, you've just had one of those hats.
Well, Hello Kitty. They put it on a handbag. The little cat.
And what is it?
They put it.
You don't have to do the action. For those who are listening, Sam's sitting here doing the action with the little paw. He's got the little paw, Greg, isn't he? He's going like he's actually doing the little paw action.
Sue said it's not the paw action.
Oh, it's not. Which one is it?
Well, it is Hello Kitty. That's an advanced version of it.
So it's not the one that waves.
It's not the one that waves.
It is. It's
the same.
They have accessed. It is Japanese.
Yeah.
I've got all
No, I know
that.
that I've put. Well, now that you mention it, you do see it everywhere.
Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Hello Kitty.
My daughters probably have had something. Hello Kitty. So that makes sense. That's a good fact that now I know, and I'm not sure how I'm going to use it. But I'll you know what I'll do? I'll trick some people. I'll be sitting around having a shandy.
Yeah, and just give them the short wave. Just give them the short wave.
I'll say,
I like that.
I'll be sitting around doing that, and I'll say, you know what? And I'll bring it up, and I'll be the smartest person in the room.
Beautiful.
Now, you might notice over, you can't, but you might notice this. I know it's not a visual medium, this, but there's a person over there that I or you or we are going to interview, an extremely interesting person over there. I'm not sure what time I told this person to come in. I hope.
Obviously earlier than what you've told him.
I haven't kept
Obviously,
her waiting, and she hasn't got a time because I thought I said, I can't remember what I said. That's how well I'm going. John, I'm very sorry. You all right? Just for a minute. What time did I tell you to come in?
Doesn't matter.
I'm very what?
10:30.
10. Did I say 10:30?
All good.
Or what?
They're an hour early.
Yeah.
Really?
Dr. Sheehan anyway, Sam.
I wasn't going to mention who it was, John. Did I not know? I'm going to mention an extremely interesting person who I know nothing about, but I think that's the best way to interview someone.
Well,
is
given
when
that she's just heard your fun fact before about Hello Kitty, I'm sure she's going to be fascinated by what's coming.
What I described the graffitiists as, those syphilis-ridden pieces of scum. That might be the last we hear of
Can
them.
I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Can I ask a question of Wayne? Because we talked before about this great man being on Perfect Match and getting picked. And did you go away on a date, by the way?
We went to a French restaurant because I was playing football at the time, and I think I was just turned 18. Do you have to be 18?
We'll have to dig this episode
Do you
out.
have to be 18 to go on? I think you probably have to be 18, so I was definitely 18. We got picked up by a limousine and went to a French restaurant, of which, being an 18-year-old kid who left Wagga at 13, then moved to Adelaide and then Melbourne at 16. Fair to say I'd never been to a French restaurant.
Escargots,
I can't remember the name. All that I remember was being thrilled, and we had a chaperone come along with
What's
us.
that one in Turek Road?
Francois.
Francois.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was Francois. Francois is a great restaurant. Yeah. But I had a chaperone, and because the conversation, once again, being a kid from Wagga at 18 and feeling pretty, pretty insecure.
Wayne, that's
the
not
woman feeling pretty uneasy at this stage. The great Wayne Carey about to go rat-a-tat-tat in the back of the limo.
I was 18.
But that's not what I was going to ask you.
Yes, sorry.
What I was going to ask you was the other time that you and I came together,
Yep.
probably the height of your football career. I remember the North Melbourne jumper, Madame Tussauds.
Madam, yes.
Now, this great man was done by the artists, and I
was a wax dummy of myself.
A wax dummy. Now I don't know whether you know this, Sam, but myself.
Have you ever been done by Madame Tussauds, Sam? There you go.
Not.
Actually, I forgot about that, Greg. There's another thing to put on my CV.
When they're writing up about you,
Madame
they say,
Tussauds.
That's right. You say you won Perfect Match and you're on Madame Tussauds, rather than saying that you've done all these other things. They could give that as your character.
Thank you.
And they might put you in the New South Wales legend status then.
So, my partner and I, we brought Madame Tussauds out of London to Australia. And the first place we opened the exhibition was in Melbourne, down where the old temporary casino was.
The convention centre.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we sat around, we had a meeting, and we said, well, now we've got to get some sporting legends here to, go along with Florence Nightingale and all the other
Kylie
great...
Minogue. Kylie Minogue was
Kylie was actually the most...
photographed or
no, touched up, and I mean that in a nice way. The artists had to go around and powder her and fix her up every morning because she got touched by the people that came through on the thighs. Yeah, they touched her thighs as they walked past.
Wayne's,
I don't know where they touched Wayne, but so Shane Warne. We got Shane Warne and to represent cricket, of course. He was at the height of his career, and you were just absolutely a legend. Now, tell Sam what it was like, though, when these artists from Madame Tussauds, these famous people from London came out here. They put him on a little disc and they turn him around, and they've got a camera on a tripod like Sue's got there. And then they just turn him around slowly and took 500 pictures.
Well, I had to pretend that I had to stand still like I was a dummy, which I did very well, by the way, because there was no lines or anything.
Around.
So I literally, just had to sort of go around. And funnily enough, just to expand on that. The first time I went to Madame Tussauds overseas, and David Hasselhoff was a wax dummy as well.
Right.
When I was young, people used to say that I looked like David Hasselhoff. So I went straight up and had a photo with the Hoff, and that was one of my favourite photos for a long time.
Did you ever go and have a photo with yourself at Madame Tussauds?
I'm sure for memory, I went in and saw obviously the opening of.
Yes, yes, you were there. I remember.
Do you reckon it's? I'm only asking you this. I always thought it was Madame Tussauds.
No, Madame Tussauds.
It's swords, is it? Two swords.
Yes. And just quickly before we get off.
What it could be both. I've got no idea.
Before we get off,
there's more people coming here today. We're filling up. How many people?
Live radio got an audience.
We got Dick from Muff there. We got Ivan.
I saw Ivan yesterday at a cafe. Actually, I ran into Ivan.
Did you?
Because you keep calling him Ivan, I forgot his real name. And I said to Solly, I was there with my friend Jay, Solly, and I said, this is Ivan, which his name's obviously not Ivan.
Yeah,
Sam,
Ivan Milat.
Just before we get off the Madame Tussauds, Jeff Kennett was the premier in those days, and so we got him done as well. And anyway, so finally the head the head is the most important thing on a Madame Tussauds model, because the body here can be covered up with clothes, but the exposed part, the head and sometimes the hands, in Wayne's case, have to be extremely accurate. And so when Jeff Kennett got done, he wanted to see his head, and I had to take it around to his office in a box with a little handle on it. And I'm stopped at security, and they said, "What's in them?" I said, "Kennett's head is in this box." And so I get through, and I get up to his office at Parliament House in Melbourne, and a secretary said, "What's in the box?" I said, "Jeff's head." And right, okay. And when I got into his office, big office, he got so excited. "Get it on the desk, put it on the desk." And he's opened the little door, and he's pulled out his head. Well, he's taken off his glasses and he's walked around this thing about 30 times, and he just loves it. He just loved looking at his head, and he wondered how that was going to be put on. I don't know, you wear a suit and everything and we'll make you look very classy. And then you know what he did? He went and had a haircut. And so the whole thing had to look accurate. You can't do things like that when they model you in wax. But I do recall you were a very popular, and I refrain from using the term wax dummy, Duck, but you were a very popular one. You and Warnie were really terrific entering
thanks for that.
Madame Tussauds Hall of Fame.
I'll make sure I put that on, like I said, on the CV.
On the CV, I know that when people write him up, they'll say
it was a wax dummy.
Ex-model for Madame Tussauds.
You forget these things, all these things you do.
Tussauds, yeah.
You're in a fake world back then, literally in a fake world, not just a wax dummy world, but you forget a lot of those things you did.
Yeah.
Sam, you look around here and I'm looking at photos of you and all the people you've met.
Yeah, but he was never a wax dummy.
No.
Never.
Muhammad Ali over there. Had a chance to meet Muhammad Ali, actually, in 1998.
Did you meet him?
Oh, I said no, and I know that sounds really bad, but I had a grand final to play. And it's the biggest regret, one of the biggest regrets of my life, not meeting my absolute hero, Muhammad Ali.
Gee. Yeah, I met him. There I am. Yeah.
I met Iron Mike.
Yes.
Oh, no, that was... we're going to talk about that at some point.
Well, we'll talk about it now because we're... they're banking up out here. It's
okay.
like planes
So
ready to take off.
You want to do that now?
Well, do that now because then we can... That'll get us to the time and we can speak.
Well, it's more up my alley rather than some of the things
I
have
understand
been welcome to country and these other things that you bring up every time. But
this is the point of bringing these things up, Wayne, because you don't know what I'm going to bring up, and I like your opinion. People said they like your opinions. Okay. The man that we speak to, Christ, what's the time? Oh, at 10:30, Ben Fordham. Ben Fordham is a national star on the radio, and he thought you were fantastic last week. And I'm hoping, not sure how we're going to do all this because at 10:30 he rings in, and what we might do is we'll just do this now and then we'll stop.
Then you work it out, and I'll go and talk to Tess. and iron out all of the problems that I've.
Oh, you're going to go. You're not going to wait for Ben.
For Ben. Oh, no, I'm happy to wait for Ben if you want me to.
Well, go on.
I can iron out all of my problems. No, let's talk about what you wanted to.
No, you
I
just
assume
said-
it's the Mike Tyson,
Yes, that's right.
Jake Paul fight.
Yes.
Is that what you wanted to touch on?
You said we were going to speak about it last week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, quite simply, and I still actually had phone calls. Mark Rasciuto, can you believe it or not? The great Adelaide player, Brownlow medalist,
Yes.
absolute champion. Got a grandstand named after him at the Adelaide Oval. Can you believe he rang me not just about this topic, something else as well. But he said, "Hey, by the way, just on the Jake Paul Tyson fight last week or the week before, whenever it was," he said, "Do you think that was set up? Do you think that was rigged?"
He didn't.
That was exactly the way. Do you think that was set up? And he'll get embarrassed about me bringing this up. But he asked, and I said, "Are you kidding, Roo? You couldn't make that assumption by yourself. What do you think?" And he said, "Oh, I've just had a lot of people say it." I said, "Well, but what do you think?" It was the most set up
It was ridiculous.
fight that I've ever seen.
Locko over there, I call him Locko, John Locko. John, I know, didn't Mike Tyson, if he was going to let Jake Paul know that he wasn't very good to go on with this by biting his glove, didn't he say, "If you see me put my boxing glove in my mouth, go easy on me because I'm not going to last the distance," but they wanted it to go 8 rounds. Is that right?
That is completely correct, Sam. It was a complete and total setup. There was many occasions where Mike Tyson could have delivered a knockout
Left
blow
hook
to Jake Paul. Inside right hand, outside left hook. It was staged.
Well, what do you mean? So Mike Tyson could have done that?
Mike Tyson could have done it on many occasions throughout that fight. It was staged.
Yeah.
Tyson was going to be penalised, in fact, had he knocked Jake Paul out. Jake Paul's pulled off the biggest con in boxing history. And I've got a little bit of a scoop for you, Sam, if you don't mind me announcing it now. Sam Solomon is going to call out Jake Paul. Sam Solomon, he has boxed more rounds professionally than anybody in the history of boxing.
Jake Paul has?
No, Sam Solomon. Yeah. Sam Solomon has.
No, there's a massive
and Sam
Solomon.
That won't make any difference because in his third fight, Sam Solomon as a middleweight won Australia's light heavyweight title. Sam Solomon beats Jake Paul easily.
Well, I would,
absolutely.
So just to back up what you said,
former world IBF middleweight champion.
In particular, the first round, right? And I was sitting there watching this with some friends, and he hit Jake Paul with a left jab, and normally would just step inside, throw the left hook, body, head, wherever, and did not follow up, stood back. I've never seen a more set up fight in the history of boxing.
I've been conned. I thought it was the other way around. I thought Jake Paul went light on Mike because
there's been.
Why didn't Mike Tyson? Why wouldn't they let him do it?
Because it's in longevity. It's in the sequels. Jake Paul doesn't want to get knocked out by Mike Tyson. He's pulled off the biggest. He's a YouTuber. Yeah. He's a YouTuber.
I actually thought, to be honest, until that fight,
because Mike Tyson did it for the coin.
Until that fight, I thought so. Jake Paul's fought, older UFC fighters, so they're not boxers for starters. He's only had one fight against an actual boxer, and that was Fury,
correct,
of which he lost. But I actually thought going into it, I thought, you know what, for a guy that took up boxing 4 years ago, he's done a pretty good job. But then when you watch that fight, when you now watch the Tyson fight, now I say to myself, he has got absolutely no idea because Tyson could have finished that in the first round and didn't. So I've changed my opinion completely about Jake Paul. And that is if he fights a boxer, even an over-the-hill boxer, he can't win.
He can't beat Sam Solomon at 52 years of age.
Well,
Sam Solomon at 52 years of age beats Jake Paul. I've got $1 million to say he does.
Well, I've been completely conned. I thought Tyson was hopeless, and I thought, why doesn't he just let a couple go?
Well, he could have early, Sam. It could have finished it, and then in the end, it was just. I agree. It was just a set up to go the distance, and that's exactly what happened.
Now, here's the dilemma. We're here. We've got Ben Fordham ringing in at 10:30, and we love to have Ben Fordham. We got Ivan over here, and we've got a very important person we want to interview. What will we do here? Will we curtail this and speak to this person?
We will exit.
This
Stage
person.
left.
I keep saying this
Yep.
person because, and then we got Dick over there, and Dick's we got some announcements to make with Dick, and we got some shout outs to do. How are we going here, Sue?
Sam, I will let you do all of those, and I will go and speak to Tess.
All right.
Because I need it. After I might actually make Tess a regular after each time I do this.
I will
iron out some of the issues that I might have acquired.
I will
in
tell
the last
Ben.
hour.
Ben will be very disappointed.
I will do Ben next.
Yes.
We'll make sure Ben
he
next
comes on
week.
every other week.
Ben is a legend.
And but he said you were fantastic. So I'll tell him that you have
Now
to
that
go
I know,
and be counsel.
now that I know that because Tess's appointment was made weeks ago, and it's a regular appointment on this particular day. So now that I know that we're going to be on Wednesdays, I can make Tess for an hour later, so I don't miss Ben next time.
Yeah, every other week.
I will.
A fortnight.
They're all falling down around him.
I
They're
will
all
speak
retired.
to. I will mention you again, Sam, and we'll see. Like I said, I'll mention to Tess. We'll see if we can get her on. Like I said, I'm not sure she's going to be able to help Sam at all, but just for the comedy factor maybe of it, might be a bit of fun.
Good to see you, Doug.
No, good on you. Thanks, Greg.
This is Sue. I'm looking for direction here. Is that it for this? The great Wayne Carey,
get
the
the right
duck.
button.
Right, and this is the button here. Right, here we go.